Today's show is all about women and addiction, and right now we're joined by the man who runs VH1 Celebrity Rehab, Sex Rehab, and Sober House, Dr. Drew Pinsky. Hello, Drew. Because of what the theme of our show is today, I will ask you, are there certain addictions that women struggle with more than men?
Yeah.
Not necessarily. I mean, what women tend to do is hide their addictions, and they tend to secret their addictions. So they tend to go more towards pills. They tend to go more towards alcohol, and when they do, they keep it a big secret.
Really? Men are not as secretive?
Not as secretive. Women, think about, I mean, just the very theme, just for thematics in terms of how we approach this topic today. Think about how we refer to women addicts or women alcoholics, the words we use. Women, a man is like a hard-drinking, hard-working old boy. A woman is a lush and a tramp. We do horrible things. We reserve a special bitterness for women with this disease, and it's sad.
It's kind of a demonizing characterization.
It's just awful.
Right.
And women are thought of as being out of control and unreliable, and we really, I mean, to even think of the people that are in the press who are out of control with their addictions, frankly, and how we just absolutely crush them. It's very sad when I see that happening.
Yeah, co-core. You've never heard that
Not
used
for
a man.
Don't use that for a man, typically.
Well, you know, the women
say crackhead for those guys.
Yeah, you say that. Right. But the women on Celebrity Rehab, Sober House, and Sex Rehab, it seems like they all had very difficult childhoods. Yep. There was physical or sexual abuse most of the time. So with the women who become addicts, is that generally something that is a trait?
It's a very common trait, and what I tell people is if they have serious enough addiction that they need to see me, there's nearly 100% probability of childhood sexual, physical abuse, abandonment, neglect, that kind of thing. But that's true of the men, too. That's not just the women.
So maybe it was, are you saying that this then became a coping mechanism or a way of dealing with those past?
Right. The way to think of it is this. I mean, I am not saying, let me be really clear, I'm not saying all addiction is caused by childhood trauma. I'm not saying that. I'm saying bad addictions, serious enough addictions that you need to come to me, then you've got a high probability. And the way it works is that trauma shatters the brain's ability to regulate. It literally changes how the brain develops, such that those children then enter adolescence, young adulthood, emotionally dysregulated. They can't regulate their emotional states. The emotions are too prolonged, too intense, too negative. They reach to the culture for solutions, and what our culture offers them, drugs, alcohol, arousing mechanisms, and it works. That's why they do it. It works.
Does another culture offer something else?
I don't. It's a great question. I can't answer that. I'm sure there are other things that people get into, but addiction is the quickest, and these days, you know, because now we are getting these better and better, and frankly, better medication, they also are more addictive.
Sure, and they're combining, too. There's so much more combination. What about recovery and being able to stay clean? Is there a difference between a success rate of a woman versus a male, or is it truly based on individual?
I've not seen that there's a dramatic difference between men and women. It's all rough, you know. People have to really want to get better. They have to stay in the program. The addiction is like diabetes. It's not like a pneumonia where you take one treatment and you're better. It's like diabetes. It's a lifelong condition. It must be attended to every day, and if it's not attended to, it goes out of control.
Dr. Drew, now, the second season of Sober House, it began last week. You had celebrities from Sex Rehab and Sex Rehab. They're living in the house. Now, recently, Kelly Osbourne, she's been really outspoken about the fact that she's credited you with helping her with her addictions. Well, she tweeted against your show. She said, exploiting people's pain and addictions to make entertainment makes me sick. I'm watching this show on TV, and it's breaking my heart. Sober House is a despicable TV show. Are you surprised she said this, and what do you have to say?
Except for that, she liked it.
Other than that, do you think the show exploits people?
I asked the women that come out here if they feel exploited. I mean, that's really, exploitation is something that somebody has to be an object of, have to be felt. Look, the people that come on the show, and I can imagine Kelly feels very poignant about what she's watching, and it must be hard to watch, and maybe that's what she's responding to. But the fact is, when you exploit, somebody gets something taken away. And ask these women, particularly Jenny Ketchum, ask her, she came on to exploit us. And each of these people feel like they got something important. And the extraordinary thing happens in front of our cameras. All of our patients end up wanting to be an inspiration to other people. So it doesn't...
And there are many watching and actually feeling as though they can do the same thing and turn their lives around.
Well, that's the thing. It really is
changing. They want
changing
on television as much as they want their drugs. That's the question.
I think they want to be on television more than anything when they get there, but that doesn't matter.
It's
it turns
to a good end, right?
Right. There are people dedicated in my field to try to figure out how to motivate people to go to treatment and stay in treatment. Right. We figured out a way. Pay them and put them on TV. Yeah. But listen, they get sober. People who are not interested in sobriety get in the program. Sure. It's crazy, but they do.
What about women? I would have just mentioned
men coming to you.
I can't say that. Actually, probably more men. More men. Well, women hide it. Women are less likely to step up and say,
you know, you learn to do that stuff because your kids. I'm sorry, no, you have to do this.
No, I just want to mention, I know you're working to stop. There's a lot of teen addiction that we're seeing younger and younger, and you're actually doing something to prevent teens from becoming addicted to their parents' medication.
Yes, our parents are. We don't send the message to our kid. Our opiates and our benzodiazepines sit in our medicine cabinet. The kids see how casually we relate to them. I invented this with some folks to help people lock up your medication. It's got a lock on it. So at least you send a message. Let's see how I'm all turned around. There we go. The message is, look, this is serious business. You've got to lock up your medication. It just sends a message to kids that this is not something casual. Just got a lock on the side here. And you just.
What if they just steal the whole thing?
And they can take a saw to it. They could, but again, it changes the paradigm, which is, hey, this isn't just sitting in my medicine cabinet, just left over. With everything else, it's no big deal because kids don't perceive the harm. There's an inverse relationship between perceived harm and probability of use. If they perceive the harm, they're less likely to use.
Well, if a doctor prescribes it, they figure it's good,
How bad can it be? And yet it's killing young addicts today.
Yes.
Every day in the press we read about this.
And everybody in the audience is taking home Dr. Drew's prescription locker. And when we come back, we're going to be joined by two of his former patients, actress Mackenzie Phillips and country star Mindy McCready.
Celebrity Rehab, actress Mackenzie Phillips and country singer Mindy McCready both struggled with past demons of physical and sexual abuse, drug, alcohol, and codependency issues. They came out of it with a new lease on life and a new friendship. Please welcome Mackenzie Phillips and Mindy McCready. And still with us, Dr. Drew Pinsky. I want to thank you both for being here and sharing your story. It will help others and has so far. Mackenzie, child star, you battled addictions at a young age, right? But when you entered Celebrity Rehab, you were clean at the time.
That's right.
Were you
about 8 months.
Okay, so were you fearing a relapse? How do you enter when you're clean, and why did you?
Well, it really wasn't about. I've been in and out of recovery, and I was clean for 10 years, and had a sort of spectacular relapse. And going into Celebrity Rehab, I really felt like it would be very arrogant of me to think I'm done, and that there isn't more to be learned. And I had always admired Drew from afar. We met at the Prism Awards.
A couple times, yeah.
Yeah, but I really wanted to get in there and be a part of this. And I also, maybe arrogantly had that feeling that I could be of help to other people.
Yeah, and
it's true. She was actually very helpful. And it's always good to have people at different stages of recovery in the treatment process. And
she was a huge help. She was really about to take over Dr. Drew's job.
well, to the point where some of the other patients attacked her. Heidi really attacked her.
She really got mad at me. Yeah. It was almost like a teacher's pet situation.
Yes,
or
they were like, she was very resentful and stuff. And Mac
jealous.
also has another interesting part of her story, which is the child star story, which is, a lot of people want to blame child stardom on addiction. I don't know if we've never talked about this, but it's usually what's going on at home that's the issue, not the childhood story.
That's right. When I did the Disney Channel series So Weird, I was working with kids, and they were from these amazing families who were so supportive. And I'm not saying that all child stars who have addiction problems have nasty families, but I think the incidence of it's pretty high.
It seems to be. Mindy, I want to ask you, by 20 years old, you were a famous country singer. Everything seemed to be going right along. And then you had periods of heavy drinking, correct? So what was going on in your life behind the scenes that no one was seeing that was causing this?
I think
onset of drinking?
Really about one bad relationship after another, whether it being a record company relationship or with a man. Starting out having a destructive relationship with my parents in my childhood, it kind of just continued on and escalated and got worse and worse. And when there would be some kind of crisis or some kind of painful thing happened to me, it was readily available to go and drink too much. And it's not something that, actually even did anything to ease the pain. It just, made things worse.
Do you still drink, Mindy? Do you still drink?
I occasionally do, socially still have a drink, but...
and we talked